Hi, my name is Miki Hughes. This is Over the Edge. It's a podcast about anxiety where I speak with comedians and medical professionals about the pandemic and people in the show business to talk about how anxiety and mental health has affected us for the last 14 months. And as the pandemic goes on, this gets far more interesting. I have a wonderful woman with us today. This is Alice Rose, and she's a comedian. She's a producer. She has shows on Twitch. She has contests coming up. She's everywhere. She does everything. Hi, Alice. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh my gosh! Thanks for coming.
Yeah, when you say it sounds like I'm so busy. I wish I felt that way. Yeah.
Compared to before the pandemic, and then now, you find that do you find that you filled up your schedule with online things? Because I do, like, I see you everywhere.
Yeah, it was a fun little roller coaster for a little while. So, before the pandemic hit, I was working a full-time job at a real estate brokerage. It was a 40-hour 9 to 5 kind of thing. And I was struggling to keep up with my performances and my productions and give them the attention that they deserved. So when 3 weeks before the pandemic, I quit my job and decided to pursue comedy and production full time. Dive headfirst into it, and what timing! Yeah, I was slowly let down. Um, no, I was promptly let down. May 16th, I had a full schedule for the upcoming month. May 17th, I had nothing on the calendar. Um, yeah, I decided I was still going to do what I had planned to do, and I formalized a lot of things with Comic Sans Productions, and I kept that routine of the 9 to 5 job. But the 9 to 5 job was trying to figure out what the hell to do as a comedian during this pandemic.
Well, I found too a huge thing that we did is like it just seemed to be like everybody had everything going on at the time. I had a show planned, everybody was canceling the tours, and like I literally just went out and like got staging and did all this stuff to do all these live shows. And you quit your job, and all of a sudden we're in the middle of a now we're in the middle of a lockdown. I don't know. We actually didn't do a whole lot of prep for this. I have post traumatic stress disorder. I have anxiety. I sort of started doing this to talk with other people in entertainment because this is sort of what we're going through. I don't know what your mental health was like before, what it is now, but how are you coping with not having a stage?
Yeah, it. I was also at a point where, yeah, I was diving in head first. I was hosting Toronto Sketchfest. I was organizing a showcase for Zoe at Just for Laughs for JFL 42. I was planning a Pride tour for June. I was talking about making plans to record my album. Everything was coming up, and it was starting to feel like I was losing a bit of that drive, a bit of that passion for the stage. So when it cut out, I welcomed the break, thinking, oh, this is going to last 3 weeks, 6 weeks maybe. It's going to be a good little vacation where I can just write new material, where I can start a routine of my day job and figure all of that out. So it was a relief to me at first, but when I realized it was going to be a few months and then maybe 6 months, and that 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 the light at the end of the tunnel kept getting further and
When did
further
you realize?
away.
When did you realize that it wasn't going to be 2 weeks? It was going to be longer.
I realized about a month in that we probably weren't going to be doing our live productions, and I probably wasn't going to be performing for a really long time. Um, and that really hit. That hit that caused me to approach. I was so desperate for attention. I was live streaming my work day, talking to myself. I was trying to make fun videos.
Did you join TikTok?
And I joined TikTok, and
I think I
then
saw you there. I saw you.
yeah,
That's
I
what I
joined
did.
TikTok with great aspirations to post, 1 minute clips, try to come up with punchy jokes and like sketches and things like that. I basically wanted to be you. Because you're doing an outstanding job on TikTok. I love it.
Oh,
Congratulations.
it was an accident,
For
but thank you. I accidentally got a viral at the beginning, so that's what did it. If I didn't have that one, I wouldn't. I just kept going with it, but love it.
yeah, I tried and then realized I don't have time or the energy for this and to leave it to the far more talented people. Um,
Hey, before this pandemic, if you would have tried to find a video of me online, like before March of last year, you wouldn't have found one. Now there's tons of them, and that's only because of the pandemic. Like there's something actually good that came out of it, which was this. So I mean, when we're done, you're probably not going to see any more videos of me. Back to making shows. Which you came out to see my all those everything that you had mentioned, all of your shows and everything that's upcoming that you've been working on will be all of the links to everything are going to be posted as well with the video and the audio when it goes onto Spotify. So we're going to we'll cover all of that too. You were very kind and came all the way out here to compete in Comedian of the North,
oh,
which was a competition with 25 comedians here in Thunder Bay from all over Canada, and you freaking nailed it. Like you, you did so well. Um,
oh, thank you.
if I was the judge, you would have because you went into finals as well, didn't you? You were.
No, I
Oh, you
didn't.
didn't.
I
I think there was a
didn't.
couple of
No.
upsets. Maybe that was one of them. But I saw that you're using Comedian of the North as a credit, and that's awesome. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it's going to be online. We're going to do it online in a couple of months.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, you're going to
Ooh,
be invited.
I'll
If you
have
want to
to
be in
go.
it, you'll.
Absolutely, yes,
Yeah,
I'm there.
I'm not surprised that you said yes. That's awesome. Yeah,
Oh, I think it's a great competition. I think it's a great thing to bring comedy and comic relief to the North. I'm a Northern girl myself. I grew up in Sudbury, North Bay. Um, yeah, I think the North is a beautiful place, and I'm always happy
oh,
to do festivals and shows. And
it,
I think it's amazing what you're doing. The turnout that you had, I mean, as someone who's putting together a competition as we speak, I know the work that's involved.
I was going to say, actually, I do want to talk a little bit about the competition. How are you running it? Is it online? Can you produce mine? That's the whole thing. I've got the judges, I have the competitors, I have the funds, I have the sponsors, I have everything, and I'm thinking if I'm at the helm and this thing goes because you're your own producer. You do sound, you do everything. You do your own editing. I think I
Yeah.
don't have the wherewithal. If something happens and I'm in lockdown and nobody can be here to help me, then the whole thing's going to be a bust. How are you putting it on? And can you tell me a little bit about it?
Oh, I have a lot of people helping. Other people, I mean, our host, Ray Lockdust, is doing so much social media and planning and all of this stuff. One of the judges, Jason Dalglish, Dinesh Anwar, Tamara
Dinesh,
Siobhan.
Dinesh is on here next week.
Dinesh is on. Oh,
Yes,
great.
yeah,
Yes.
I love
I
Dinesh.
I can't believe Dinesh said yes to do this. Dinesh is such an amazing and accomplished person. Um, I feel it's an honor to have him on the show. It's a privilege to have all three of these people. They're all astounding, and the hosts are great, and they've all been there to inform like what the competition should look like, how the elimination round should run.
Yeah,
Um,
Dinesh does Your Hood's a Joke, which is an absolute sensation. He does it all over the world, like Tokyo, Japan, all the places. He
yeah,
came out
yeah.
to Thunder Bay and did Your Hood's a Joke at the Da Vinci, where we did the Comedian of
Mm-hmm.
the North, and I'll tell you, like, just a total class act. He's awesome to work with. So, are you? Sorry, what's the name of your competition?
It's called the Breakout Room. And yeah, to answer your previous question, we are doing it online. It's a virtual show. We have Black Sheep Comedy, who's here hosting the Zoom
I
room
love
and
Black Sheep
doing
Comedy.
all of that. Oh, outstanding. I love working with powerful women, and there's no exception there. Um, they're doing so much to like facilitate all of the tech. We're running it as a virtual show, so people from all across Canada, Newfoundland to BC, everywhere in between. We're trying to celebrate virtual comedy in a unique and interesting way, and to give it like validity as a performance art, because it's different from live stand up. But it's not necessarily less than live stand up. And I want to show.
Absolutely, absolutely not. I find the people that that would trash if they say like TikTok isn't real comedy and Zoom isn't real you guess what? It's all comedy. It's all comedy. And I've seen some people absolutely thrive on Zoom. Like they just play it up and they use the camera and they use the space and they use like tools that they have. And I think comedy is comedy. If it's funny, it's valid.
Yeah, I mean, you can be a guitar player or you could be an instrumentalist and a musician, and it's the same thing where you're experimenting and taking advantage of all the different platforms, whether it's podcasts, whether it's YouTube. Great people like ASAP Science, Greg Brown, and his partner. I'm at a loss for names, but Greg is a comedian and decided that YouTube was his format. And now they have ASAP Science, which is an incredible YouTube channel. People like you, Pat Tiffin, Cliff Knight, who are just.
I love Pat as well. He is so hilarious. I was excited to interview you because I am going to say, like, even with all those names, there aren't a lot of women doing what we're doing. There's a few right there. There's Alyssa Kixon in Winnipeg, and we've got Rossum Comedy out there in Vancouver, and we've got you. There's a lot of guys. There's all these come popping up. So I love that we're becoming a little bit more innovative. And if I contact them and say, "Hey, do you want to be on my show?" They're like, "Yeah." It's not. It doesn't feel like it's as male, like maybe as male dominated with us busting into it.
Yeah, I think a lot of the people who dominated the live stand-up industry are not as keen or is not as eager to dominate the virtual stand-up industry. I think I like to joke that you can classify comedians into two groups: the comedians who were picked on in high school and the comedians who picked on people in high school. The comedians who picked on people in high school aren't coming into a virtual show. They're not doing a Zoom mic. They're not wasting their time.
It's easy to trash what you don't know, and I just shut that down immediately because I think go make your own content then, or let the people that are making their content just make their content.
Exactly.
Right?
Why intrude? Why interfere? People are just doing great things and putting stuff out to make people happy.
And even if it's not good, you're still a musician. If you're really bad at playing the guitar, you're playing it.
Oh, I am a musician. Thank you.
Are you really bad at it? You're still a musician.
Mm-hmm.
So Alice, when was the last time that you cried?
Ooh, you saw that? I thought I was off camera for that. The last time I cried.
Like doing a sound check with you. That was awful.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with. I must have skipped my estradiol today. I don't know what's up. Seriously, the last time I cried was probably a week ago. The pandemic's been tough, and I've gone through ups and downs. I went through productive times. I went through very, very depressed times, a few months where it was an effort to get up off the couch and check my emails. It was an effort to get back to other comics and book shows. I'm back on the upswing now, but it still feels, I still have insecurities and I still have a lot of self-doubt. And, right now I'm on employment insurance and I have government assistance to, it's a backdoor artist funding kind of thing. Like I'm getting paid to do what I do, but when that stops, am I going to be able to, is the world going to open up? Are people going to like me enough? Am I still going to have it? So I was just having a lot of doubts about my relationships and my friendships. And I cried. There are 3 times in my life where I cried that hard. Because I cry a little bit almost every day, but to really, really feel it.
Because you're one of these people, I'm going to say, that come across like you could bust some balls. That you seem very tough, very stable, very, very, very together. So to hear this, and that's why I love doing these, because sometimes I hear that people that seem a little bit off, they're steady wins the race, and you've been dealing with insecurities, and you've been through depression as well. And did you find that the pandemic has exacerbated it for you, or?
Absolutely. I mean, there are aspects of it that relieve some of the stress of like having to juggle work, like my money making job and my passion and all of this. I'm grateful for the pandemic because it's given me an opportunity and it's given me the time to do things that I never thought would be possible, and to grow the brand of Comic Sans and to reach out and do agency work and private bookings. But I mean, the core things, being able to reach out and engage with people and share my story and my message, that was very therapeutic for me, and I can't do that anymore. Sorry?
Oh, I was just going to say, what is your? Did you say that you can't do it? You can't do it anymore. You find that like reaching out, like either like by phone or Zoom or whatever. You mean you can't like
Mhm.
physically reach out because you're not around people alone, or?
I don't. For the longest time, I didn't really have the platform because I wasn't. I was still learning about Zoom comedy. I was still learning how to perform to a camera, all of those things. So there was a time where I just stopped performing and stopped writing, and I was only focusing on producing. And then I lost that because comedy is advocacy for me. Comedy is a way to share my stories and humanize trans people and humanize queer people and stand up
You
for
you love
women.
it. You love it, or else you
I
love it. You would do it for free. We do it for free. That's I can tell you're totally
would do it for free.
into it. I do it for free. I'd be happy. Like if somebody wants to pick up anything that I'm doing, like that's fine. Like I will actively go out and get sponsorships, but I would do this anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, so it was difficult because I wasn't engaging with people as aggressively as I had wanted to, and that impacted me. I mean, came through a lot of doubts, a lot of loneliness. I started feeling afraid of people.
What
Because
brought
my
you
partner.
out of that? Sorry, what was the point? Like, have you ever been to the edge? And the edge is something different for everybody. For some people, it's very dramatic. For some people, it's just like an epiphany or a saving grace. What brought you out of that to get you motivated again?
Um, I think it was my partner, my therapist. Um, Being able to develop and focus on projects that are working. Charisma mod, I found Dungeons and Dragons, which is a way to like,
I saw that. That was on
yeah,
Twitch. I logged into that. You asked me to look at it. When I'm like, oh my gosh, and that was with was that Tamara Chevron, and there was a. I'm like, this is freaking great.
yeah, Tamara Siobhan, Alval, Brendan D'Souza, and he's a musician, Yahenda. He's a friend of the DM Stella, and they're just an amazing group, and they have so much fun together.
Comedians
And
playing D&D. That's amazing.
yeah, um, I mean, I'm sure it's been done before, but we do it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's this great platform for us to explore. I don't know, this fantasy realm and just escape from the real world. It's
I was
like,
part of an 8-month D&D campaign when the world shut down. So I had been playing all that time.
oh,
Yeah, we didn't
mm,
move it to Zoom, but it was. I've actually just watched some shows. And no, I haven't seen any other comedians doing it.
mm-hmm. I played a one shot, and I've played a campaign off camera. And I absolutely love it. And just watching this project grow has been a saving grace because we get to get together in a virtual way, and like we're in our imaginations and it's fantasy realms, and we're
Some of the
learning more about each other. And yeah,
Yeah, some of the best ideas have come out of this because it's forced us to be creative. Because I wouldn't be doing Instagram Reels or YouTube or any of that stuff if I hadn't been forced to, just out of boredom. I live alone, so it was a
mm-hmm.
it was a very like I could only paint the entire house one time, and I imagine you're very hyper productive. You need to have stuff to do all the time.
I do. I absolutely do. When I'm not suffering from crippling depression, of course, but
Depression,
Um,
yeah.
and that's my way to get out of the depression as well, is to find something meaningful, find that one thing that's a reason to get up in the morning, that one thing that I want to accomplish and I am passionate about accomplishing. And encouraging myself to get out and jump in the shower and do it. Um,
I
and
think I
yeah,
went for 8 days once. I didn't brush my hair. Like even that. Like I couldn't get out of bed, and I was just like I just didn't even want to. I was up. How was your sleep? Did you pull a bunch of all nighters? And like, what am I 18 again? Like I was constantly like staying up all night and then sleeping all day, and it was
yeah,
a downturn.
I'm so, having my partner and my dog are a blessing because my partner works from home and she works 9 to 5. So, in that time, I get up with her. She keeps me in that routine and keeps me sort of structured. If I didn't have that, and if I didn't have my dog who needed a walk 2 or 3 times a day, I don't know when I would leave the house. I don't
I
know when I would sleep, and because I do tend to in the past when I was single, when I was living alone, I did have that tendency to just like shift my sleep schedule and throw my circadian rhythm completely out the window. Um,
Yeah, you lay there in the morning, you're like I should get up, and then you're like, why?
yeah, yeah, and then you just like watch a YouTube video on your phone, fall asleep. It's 11 o'clock, then suddenly it's 5 o'clock, and what happens?
Are you
Um,
anti-mask, or are you for or against the mask?
Uh, uh, I am. I'm anti-not mask for the foreseeable future. I don't
Perfect.
know if I can. I don't know if I can trust. Like I said, I started developing this fear of people. I would have anxiety attacks when I went to the grocery store. I had to start doing curbside pickup because I
You
was
remember?
so.
You remember the first time going into the store with the mask on and hearing the things like above you saying, please keep distance, and everybody else is wearing a mask. Like I was like having a panic attack in the cheese aisle, like trying not to cry. Like what is
Yeah, and
happening? This is
you're lining up at the grocery store, you're lining up at the pharmacy, you're lining up. I had to line up at Long and McQuaid to get audio equipment, and like
you go by a liquor store,
it's
it's around the corner, and like I'm glad I don't drink, but because I saw those liquor store lineups, those were hilarious.
yeah. But I mean, when you want your weed, you just order it and it comes to your door. It's weird now that weed is legal. The pandemic hit, and suddenly we have to buy everything the way we used to buy our drugs.
Yeah.
I don't know. I bought a breakfast sandwich out of a back alley, and it was the best breakfast sandwich I've ever had. But yeah, Canada feels
You
a bit
buy
backwards in that regard.
you're buying sandwiches now on the dark web. That's yeah.
Mm-hmm,
You're at home right
mm-hmm.
now, like going and spending time with people and hanging out and doing healthy things. That's illegal. You need to stay home. You need to smoke your weed, have a couple drinks, and doesn't matter what time you get up. I
Exactly.
The last interview I did it as a live. And I go into, like I always say, like, are you anti-mask? Are you getting the shot? Because everybody says, I wear my mask, I'm going to get a shot. And it was with somebody who was actually anti-mask. And I listened for a little while. YouTube pulled down that video. I got a 1 week ban for misinformation. And I,
Ooh.
I know. So when you said it, I'm like, oh, maybe I should have asked this beforehand.
Well,
I'm just kind of
lucky, but
it.
also I don't know if I agree with that because you're two people with opposing views
And I
exploring and
will
having a
and it was a discussion. It was pulled like if I can't joke about having like not eating bat soup and that's not acceptable and that it's clearly a satire. It was just that I posted a TikTok on YouTube as well where I said I got the shot and I wanted to see if my arm was magnetized, so I put a dime to it and then I exploded. So they took that one down last
uh,
week. So this is second strike. So YouTube has it out for me. So I'm really glad that you are not.
yeah.
Are
Once
you
you're on their radar, absolutely. But
but the
okay,
misinformation, I'm like, I'm pro-vaccine though. I am like,
yeah, it's a guest on your show. That's ridiculous. Does Fox News have a YouTube channel? Because if so, I am coming for them. We are starting a petition.
sorry
I'm
for
sorry.
where?
Fox News? Do they have a
Oh,
YouTube
geez.
channel?
Oh, I'm sure. Well,
Because
I watch some of their garbage when it's streaming, but I just do it just to see what's feeding the other side. I try to stay away from. I try to stay away
um,
from the news. When do you think this is going to be over?
um, I think optimistically, it's going to be over in terms of we can start shopping without our masks on. I'm hoping by January 2022.
Yeah, I'm
That's
just
the
curious.
sort of timeline that I've given myself. But I mean, like you asked, am I anti-mask or pro-mask? I with the vaccine, with the second dose when I get it, I don't care. I'm so afraid of people, and it's so ingrained in me now that I'm wearing my mask for a ridiculous, like, it's until, I don't know. I may never stop wearing my
We
mask.
may look like China eventually because they've been wearing masks for a really long time. Anyway, I was thinking like we would just be walking down the street just wearing masks and stuff like they do, like they
Mm-hmm.
do in the Asian countries. They've been doing that for a long time.
Yeah, and I know in China and Chinese culture, and this is something I learned during the pandemic, is uh, with the Chinese culture, when you're sick, you wear a mask so you don't spread it to other people. It's a courtesy to other
Yeah,
people.
my
So,
mask is
people
for
make
you.
fun.
Yours is for
Yeah.
me.
And that's a great, if I feel a little sniffly, if I think I might have a cold or a flu, put a mask on so I'm not spreading something to other people. That's a beautiful way to see wearing a mask.
Exactly.
Um, it's not to keep yourself safe from people. It's not to be like, ooh, you're dirty, or anything like that. But I just, personally, I think that I don't know if I can ever trust public air. Like, am I going to go out and just raw dog public air? I'm
Raw
not
dog
ready for that
public
yet.
air. I'm putting
Like,
that
do
in the
you
notes.
know where that air's been when you're in the subway or on a bus with other people? Like, you have no idea where that air has been. Don't
Do,
touch it.
do you
Just,
see pictures of you with like groups of people now and think, oh God, that was so unsanitary. We were just all like, I see groups of people there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was right in the middle of that. I could have caught anything. Did I get sick?
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. What if, And it's just interesting. Yeah. So,
What is something that you do personally in the moment to pull yourself out of like I don't want to say like anxiety, but if you like panic, if you realize that you're worrying about things, you're in depression and you're pretty upset. What do you do at that time to bring yourself up and out of it? Like, do you have any coping? Do you have any self soothing? I love had somebody on. She said she used to lay down and like she did it since she was a kid. And she's put like a can of beans on her head. That's Erica Sigurdsson. I love her. And she would just lay there
ah,
like on the floor with a can of beans on her head. And I'm thinking, wow, that's like cognitive behavioral therapy. Like I had to go learn that, and here she's doing it since she was 9 years old. Is there a soothing thing that you do for yourself to make yourself feel better in the moment?
right. I do practice a lot of self-soothing. I've always had nervous twitches. I've always had tics, and with ADHD too, I'm hypersensitive uh, to touch sensory things. So like my hair is always bothering me. My clothing, I'm always adjusting. You probably would have like observed that during our conversation. So I try to focus those tendencies in the moment to keep myself grounded. So one thing I do is I just massage the fleshy part in between my thumb and forefinger, and that just allows me to like feel a presence in my body and focus on a specific sensory input instead of just taking everything in. I also have a background on my phone that has like just basic mindfulness exercises. Take a deep breath, unclench your jaw, um, let your tongue relax, because when you're anxious, your tongue touches the roof of your mouth and you press up against it. Relax your shoulders and just take, 3 deep breaths, and that helps to ground myself in the moment.
That's what you do. If you had a friend who called you, maybe they're not in crisis, they're having a really hard time. They're like, Alice, I am at wit's end. What advice, just as a comedian entertainer, would you give another comedian entertainer who called you and said, I don't know what to do. I am it's driving me crazy and I miss the stage and I'm peaking right now. Would you I would hang up on them? No, I'm just joking. I got my own
I'd be
stuff to
like,
do.
I pay a therapist.
Yeah. Like, don't you have friends?
Yeah, do the same. I don't know. Sincerely, my biggest advice would be to schedule something in the future for them, because I know that suicide is an epidemic. I have a lot of trans people, very alarmingly high suicide rate. Giving
The
people
highest
something.
suicide rate actually among, yes, I,
Yeah,
I recently found that
yeah.
out.
And
I've
sorry.
with addictions as well. In fact, they're the only community that's higher than women with concurrent disorders, meaning mental health plus addiction. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I thought, wow, these statistics are horrible. And then I read about the trans community, and I thought, they gotta stick together here. Now I'm watching Thunder Bay. We have a road with uh, like recognizing the trans community with flags and roads, and I think it's absolutely
Oh, the
wonderful.
crosswalks, the painted crosswalks and everything?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's so cute. I think, yeah, in terms of trans people, it's easy to talk to trans people because fortunately we're in a time where things are constantly improving.
And I had
So,
Cindy
like,
Rivers on as well. In fact, it's
I
more.
love Cindy.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we went on. I'm going to bring this up. So we did
Mhm.
TikTok live at the same time. So I pulled her into my feed, and we were doing
Mhm.
Instagram and Facebook, and I couldn't stop watching the shitty comments that she was getting on TikTok, and I was
Mhm.
ignoring them. Like I was like, and then finally I just said, are you okay with those? And she's like, she just read them out. She said, this is what I get. This is what I'm dealing with on a daily basis. I'm used to it. It's actually, it doesn't bother me. And
Mhm.
I think that as a woman, I have to, fight the man and, get my voice heard. And this poor woman just existing, doing on her channel,
Mhm.
doing a live, and I was upset. Like I was clearly more upset than she was. But and I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do it again. Not under.
Yeah, I don't know Cindy intimately well, but we've hung out a couple times. We've had conversations. We've been on each other's productions and everything various times. But the one thing I get from her is just her strength, how strong she is. Because I know I come from a place of privilege where I live in the gayest city in possibly the world. I have, a loving partner. I have a family that supports me. I can navigate my life without my transness. Really, I don't know why I'm doing this when I say transness. It feels a little transphobic to me. Uh, but
Make it as weird as you want.
yeah, I get to navigate the world without my transness really impacting me on a day-to-day basis. It impacts me sometimes in my family relationships, or like if I get uh, hate crimed or called out on the odd occasion, but for the most part, I don't have to deal with.
We live in a different world now. I would say, and I mean, and you can tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, but from my perspective, 4 years ago when Comedian of the North started, I asked a trans woman to come out. I invited her. She was from Winnipeg, and she just said straight up, she said, I don't feel safe. She said, I don't, I have my community here, and I would have set something up. Like I said,
Mhm.
with me personally, but I was upset that she didn't feel safe coming to Thunder Bay, right? But now the community is so prominent here that I feel like, I mean, and maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, you came, I don't know if you had any qualms when you came to Thunder Bay. Are all the cities like this? You see the Pride weeks and you see the parades, and it almost feels like it's, if anybody says anything against somebody that's trans, the internet will just take them down.
Unless you're on a TikTok live or or Twitter. I don't know. Twitter's still the last bastion of douchebaggery. Um, no, but it is. The world is getting better. And to answer your initial question, um, the best advice that I can give for a trans person who's going through something difficult is that the world is getting better every day. And I can say every day that I wake up is the best day to be alive for trans people. So every day that we continue living, the world is going to get better and better.
And
And we
I
get
don't
to
know
be
if
on the right side of history for that. And that's a beautiful thing.
you are actually. I love what you said. Yes, be on the right side of history, because you know how everybody's going to be viewed eventually, if they're not, and especially now. And I'm not sure if I can ask you: are you have like always been trans? Is this something that you were like? I was going to say, like, how long have you been trans?
Right.
Can I ask that? Is that okay? Is it
Yeah,
because you?
of course. Of
Because at one
course.
point you say, hey, this is who I am, and you're you. And so, how long have you been dealing with?
Yeah, I have. I started transitioning and I came to terms with it about 5 years ago.
Okay.
I was 31. Yeah, don't do the math. Let's just glaze over that. But yeah, I was in my 30s when I started really coming to terms with my gender and exploring my sexuality. Before that, there was, there were the signs. All throughout my life, I've been denying it to some degree, but yeah, I bit the bullet and took the blue pill and went down the rabbit hole 5 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious because if you were dealing with it, say, with like online stuff, say, even 7, 8, 9 years ago, it might have been quite a bit different. In fact, I'm almost happy.
Yeah, sorry about that. My dog just is eating garbage
That's
down the
okay. Can I see your dog?
street. Yeah.
Can I meet?
Can I? Yeah. We love him when he's not chewing tinfoil. Come here, buddy. Come here. This is Pancho. He's my little boy.
Hey,
My little
buddy.
worker boy. Pancho, what's that? What's that? Who's
I
there?
love you. What a
Yeah.
sweetheart.
He's my buddy, my life.
That's wonderful. You feel like your dog and your partner feel. Oh, you feel like
When he's
every.
not breaking my shit home studio here. Yeah.
I had a dog tear up my yard, and I was like, I can either have a happy dog or a nice yard, and I would rather that. You know what? Just go ahead, dig. It looks like crap, but you're having a really good time, so give her.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would have done without my dog. I can fix that stuff later. I absolutely love my dog. Yeah. I wanted to. I guess one last thing is what shows immediately do you have coming up that you want to mention for me to add to this later?
Yeah, so it's coming up. If you're in Toronto, we're doing a maybe thing. We're doing so
Maybe
Comic
not.
Sans. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
our third year anniversary at Comic Sans is coming up in June. June 14th is the official, but that's like a Wednesday. So we're hoping that Friday, June 17th, if it's safe to do so, we're going to do an outdoor show, whether that's the performers getting together and performing for like 5 people, or whether it's a virtual thing, whether we all get to be together. It depends, and we're playing it by ear. But June 17th, we're going to be celebrating something. So I will be sending out information or with
Please send me the invite. This will be airing before then, roughly. So if you have a link or an invite at that time, when you know, and if it's virtual, I would love an invite as well, please, because I will absolutely come.
Absolutely. It'll be virtual to some degree. The biggest lesson that we learned in this pandemic is, as a production company, here I have to put my manager jacket on here, but at Comic Sans Productions, sorry, let me restart.
No, I love it. Give it.
Here at Comic Sans Productions, accessibility, inclusivity, and community are at the heart of everything we do.
I get the wrong name.
Oh, that's okay. I can do it again.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, hi there. Welcome. Here at Comic Sans Productions, we're founded on the 3 pillars of accessibility, inclusivity, and community. What that means for us is that during this pandemic, having to shift in an innovative way to the, I can't do this anymore, but having to shift to the virtual online platform, having to move to that and engage with these virtual mediums, it's so exciting, and it's so easy to improve the inclusivity and the accessibility of our events by allowing people to access our shows and our content in a variety of different ways. So everything we do from now on is going to be virtual in some capacity, whether it's hybrid, whether we're live streaming our shows on Twitch, whether we are
incorporating this. This is part. These are skills that we don't have to ditch later. Like
exactly.
We're going to have live, and then that's what I figure. Now I'm just going to have events, but I'm also going to post them live, and just do them this way too.
Yeah.
More people.
Market research and studies showed that offering a virtual option doesn't have a major impact on your attendance. I'd hate to break it to all the comedians and producers out there, but people don't come for the comedy. The comedy is the secondary commodity of a live show. People want to go out, they want to have drinks, they want to have dinner, they want entertainment
We
with
want to be
their
seen. We
social
want to
engagements.
network. We want to,
Yeah,
yeah.
which is why Zoom mics in the beginning didn't work, because we only had the entertainment aspect and people didn't get any of the other social aspects. So if people want to go out to a live show, they're still going to go out to a live show. But if they can't do that for whatever reason, if the venue isn't accessible, if you are having a bad mental health day, if you can't afford a babysitter, whatever it is, the option to partake is still available to people. And I think that's wonderful. I think that's something we should have been doing so much sooner.
Well, they say so 30% of everyone has canceled their cable because they're consuming everything online anyway through the streams.
Yeah.
So there's no way that this is going to go anywhere. So that's really exciting. Um, yeah, I want to thank you so much for coming on. I may have to break this into 2 episodes. In fact, I might do that.
Oh, wow,
And
thank you.
oh, I really no, I really appreciate you being here. Really interesting. I love talking to another woman producer. You're doing some amazing things.
Yes, me too. And I can't wait to work together in the future.
Absolutely. If you ever need anything, let me know. I'm going to post about 17, 18 different links with this. And I want to thank you so much again for coming, and you have a good night.
Yay, you too.
And
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
Bye.
Bye.
That's it. And I got an ender.